Hey guys. Hey guys, I don't know if it said that I'm live. I don't know if anybody is on here. This is the first time I'm ever doing a live stream. And so if you're on here live, let me know if you can hear me. I tested it out before and I think we're good. But I just wanted to come on today and give you guys some updates about what's going on with me and my business in relation to the coronavirus or COVID-19. And then also just some tips in terms of what to do if you're experiencing anxiety or panic or fear or anything like that, as well as some immune boosting tips that will be really helpful for you if you want to just keep your body strong and feeling really good. So, okay, it looks like we do have some people on here. Awesome. This is kind of fun. I normally, obviously, edit my videos and I've never done anything live. So please forgive me if this is super awkward. Oh, hey, Rainey. That's awesome. Okay, this is really fun. So yeah, feel free to comment and ask questions as I go through this. But I had something really interesting happen to me last night, and I'm processing through some emotions about it. But I was supposed to be in an all-week hypnotherapy training this week, and I've been so excited about it all week. And hey, Kelsey, thanks for joining. Anyway, so I've been really excited about this hypnotherapy training all week, and I just always want to keep honing my skills and learning more and more. And so I found out that so many people dropped out of this training. I wasn't going to go, but I found out, I think this was on Sunday, that there should only be about 6 people there because so many people had dropped out. And so I thought, you know what? I feel really good about going. 6 people is not that big of a deal. They're altering the curriculum so that we don't have to touch each other and I can keep my distance. And so yesterday I went, and it was in Nashville. Thankfully, I didn't have to fly anywhere for it. But there ended up being, I don't know how many people, somewhere between 12 and 15 people there. And immediately I was like a little nervous about it, but I thought, you know what, it's not that big of a deal. I'll just sit in the back and again, keep my distance. And the instructor was so good about saying, listen, if you feel any kind of illness or sickness or you need a cough, please just take a precaution and go out of the room to cough or leave. And yet that didn't really happen. So there was a lot of people coughing in there. And there was also like most of the people had traveled in from out of state, one person even out of the country. And last time I went to a training like this, most of the people were local with maybe like one person coming in from out of state. And so this is just kind of all a surprise to me. Then I found out I gave someone a hug who I felt like really good about. I knew that they wouldn't be a risk at all. And then later on found out that their spouse had been ill this week with a fever. And the chances of it being this COVID-19 thing are so slim. But I just decided that it wasn't worth putting myself or anyone else at risk by continuing to go, because I also work part-time with some children who have special needs and are at high risk. And if they were to get an illness, it would be a really, really big deal. So I'm basically on day 1 of self-quarantining just to be safe. I just don't want to live with the responsibility that I had any part in spreading this to anyone else, even if there's like such a small chance that it would be a problem. So I was experiencing like a lot of anger last night and a lot of frustration because this is not at all how I saw my week going the next 2 weeks. I can't work in this other thing that I do for the next 2 weeks, which is, obviously I have to take a pay cut, which, isn't that big of a deal. It's a week of my life because this week kids are on spring break and schools are out. And so they're had childcare this week. Anyways, it's a long story, but I am making the most of it now. I processed through a lot of emotions last night and just decided that, you know what, I'm just going to embrace this. I'm going to surrender to it. And so that's what I'm doing. Another little housekeeping note is I've decided, obviously, in this process that I'm going to do all of my appointments, hypnotherapy wise and health coaching wise, online through Zoom. I do a lot of this anyway for people who are out of state, but I'm just going to take everything online just because I think it's really smart that we keep ourselves just as isolated as possible until we know more. Because I think that's what's the strange thing about all of this is that nobody really knows what is happening. I feel like a part of me feels like we're majorly overreacting to what's happening. And then a part of me feels like we're majorly underreacting to what's going on. And I just don't think any of us could know for sure. And after being in that group of people last night and hearing people coughing and knowing that it would affect my life if I were to take this in other people's lives, if I were to now take this to them and potentially get them sick. And I just feel like we all have a responsibility to protect the vulnerable people around us. I feel like a lot of people aren't taking this very seriously. And you know what? It may end up being like just not that big of a deal and it blows over in a month. And we all look back on this and say, wow, wasn't that crazy? But the truth is, people are dying from this, and we need to do our part, and it's not that big of a deal. I saw this quote that said, like, your grandparents were called to war, you're being called to sit on your couch, so you can do this. I thought the same thing. But in light of that, I know a lot of people are experiencing a lot of anxiety. I know for myself, a lot of things have come up for me in that regard. I felt myself even getting a little bit excited, like, ooh, what's going to happen? Like, I'm kind of looking forward to staying home for 2 weeks. What does that mean? It's a change in my normal routine, which is kind of, it's like this weird excitement almost, which is also, I think, anxiety of the unknown. And so I just want to encourage you guys in a couple things that you can do to help with anxiety if you're feeling that way. First of all, know that it's totally normal. But there are some things that you can do. So the first would be to restrict your consumption of media and scale it back. I think a lot of us feel like we need a play-by-play because it seems like every hour there's new information coming out. But I think that cycle can be addictive and also just feeds into that roller coaster of panic and anxiety. So I just want to encourage you guys, like, check the news once or twice a day, or trust that people will text you if something really important happens. If there's an address from your local government, feel free to watch that and stay informed. But don't get sucked into the social media conversations that people are having and all of the hype, because to be honest, a lot of the information is not true. And people, again, nobody knows what they're talking about, including myself. I mean, I just feel like we're all kind of in the dark here. And so the best thing that we can do is just to protect our psyches during this process. If you feel really anxious, one of the things that you can do, I have a guided hypnosis for anxiety on my channel. I'll post in the description of this video once I'm done doing it live. I'll post it there so you can click on it. It's 14 minutes long. And if you're like experiencing anxiety right now, it's a really, really good thing to do, and just to kind of calm down the nervous system. And you can do it a couple times a day. It's so, so helpful. The other thing is, I would just encourage you guys, sorry, I've got some tea here. I would encourage you guys to keep meditating, keep up with the self-care, and just really, really take care of yourself. I was avoiding meditating for a few days. I don't know why I was avoiding it. I think I just was enjoying staying connected and feeling like just the energy of all the conversations that were happening and all of that subconsciously. And so I was avoiding it. And I finally, yesterday, got my act together and started meditation again. And I genuinely believe it's the antidote to anxiety. If you haven't ever meditated before, go to the app called One Giant Mind. They have a 30-day challenge there that's really, really, really good if you want a place to start. You can also download guided meditations and all of that stuff as well. But that's what I use every day. I just use their silent meditation, but it has like a bell before you start and some ambient music playing and then a bell at the end. And you can set it for however much time you want to do. And that's been awesome for me. What is this guy saying? A10 pilot. I'm a biologist and read the scientific manuscripts coming out almost daily. This is a moving target in our understanding. Yeah, it definitely feels that way. It feels like a moving target, like it's just constantly changing. And as soon as we think we know something, it changes. And I think that contributes to anxiety. And if you guys have been following this channel for a while, or you are interested in holistic health and well-being, which I'm assuming you are if you follow my channel, you know that stress is probably the number one contributor to illness. And it's actually suppresses your immune system. Stress does. And so I think we all need to be really vigilant about our states and what we're bringing into the world as well. And this may be a little esoteric for some of you, but I truly believe that anxiety is addictive. And I think that we have a responsibility to manage our emotional state during this time and just carry a vibration of love, of understanding and empathy for people. There are a lot of people going through a lot of hard things right now. And I think that we can just do our part just by holding this place of, peace and calm. Obviously, if you're going through emotions, allow yourself to process through the emotions. I certainly did last night. I did a lot of crying because I was feeling really angry and frustrated that my entire next 2 weeks got canceled. And then I've got to stay home for 2 weeks. But at the same time, after I processed through that, I was able to now get into a place of just surrender and embracing what's happening. Because the truth is, if you can do anything, you can make the best out of the situation. Just look at the Italians, for example, and they're singing off their balconies and bringing a connection and a unity. There's this quote that I want to read to you. I'm just going to pull it up on my phone that I read last night that I thought was so beautiful and is just such a good place, kind of a mindset to be in. So it's by Kitty O'Meara. I don't know who that is, but somebody posted this in my family text thread yesterday. So it says, and the people stayed home and read books and listened and rested and exercised and made art and played games and learned new ways of being and were still and listened more deeply. Some meditated, some prayed, and some danced. Some met their shadows. And the people began to think differently, and the people healed. And in the absence of people living in ignorant, dangerous, mindless, and heartless ways, the earth began to heal. And when the danger passed and the people joined together, they grieved their losses and made new choices and dreamed new images and created new ways to live and heal the earth fully as they had been healed. That literally gives me chills just reading that. I think that it is just so beautiful. By the way, I just realized the light in here is really intense. I'm going to turn this light off. Am I back? Okay, I think that's better. Sorry. Anyways, I just think that quote is so amazing. And I'm just like reading it to myself every day because it's so beautiful. If you're really struggling with anxiety and you feel like you're a little bit out of control, and that's totally okay, please reach out to me. You can email me at madeline@madelinelemon.com, or you can actually give me a phone call at 615-5, oh my gosh, what's my number? 567-3007. I'll post that in the comments below, but I would be happy to set up a session with you and we can work through some of this anxiety and change your mindset so that you are experiencing this uncertainty that's happening in a different way. And you do not have to be stuck in that anxiety and feel like there's that kind of hopelessness, helplessness feeling. You can actually go into this feeling really empowered and at peace. And you're welcome, Matthew, for the quote. I think it's so beautiful. My husband told me today, he has this quote that he says a lot. And he said, I think it comes from Tony Robbins and some other stuff that he has been reading, but he said, your personal power lies in your ability to take action. And so tell yourself, I know who I am, I know what I am, and I know how I serve. And so ask yourself, how can you serve yourself today? How can you serve others today? And even if you can't get out of your house and you're somewhere where you need to stay in fact, most of us should really just be staying in if we can. How can you bring this energy to the world, a hopeful energy, an encouraging energy? Think about what you're posting online for others to read. Think about the text messages that you're sending back and forth with your friends and family, the conversations that you're having, and how can you bring more encouragement to that? If you know who you are, which is that you are a being of love and that love is truly the ultimate reality, how can you carry that feeling into the world, because just as much as anxiety is contagious, love is also contagious. So let's like just spread love around like confetti in this time as much as we can and help the people that are around us. Okay, so I also want to get in really just quickly to some kind of practical steps that you can take to keep your immune system really strong. Can you post the quote that you read, please? Yeah, I'll be happy to post the quote. I can't post it right now because I don't have a keyboard on here, but as soon as I'm finished, I'll put it in the description box of this video. Anyways, so what can you do for your immune system? There are some really easy things that you can do. The first is, if you can, drink a cup of bone broth every single day. It is a powerhouse for your immune system. If you can't get the supplies to make bone broth, which I do have a video. I'll post the link to that below on how to make it. All you have to do is get literally any type of bones. In that video, I say to get chicken feet because they're just like amazing. They're full of collagen and gelatin that's so good for you. But if you can't get access to those, any bones that are organic and grass-fed will do, and you can follow the same recipe. And then also you can buy bone broth online from Amazon. You can find it at your store. Surprisingly, guys, the healthy food in the grocery stores is basically all that's left, fresh produce and all the good stuff. So lucky for us that we can find that stuff. And so, yeah, I would encourage you to drink at least a cup of that a day to keep your immune system up. Let's see, Nadia, what did you say? I agree. We should be loving towards other normal people, but we must also realize the people in control of this world at the top are extremely evil and do not feel the way we do about things. I just made a huge pot of chicken soup with bone broth, carrot, celery. Awesome, Nadia. That's great. Yeah, the truth is we do not have control over what's happening in our government and the people that are running this country. I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories floating around and everything. The truth is we can't control that. But what we can control is ourselves, and we can control the energy that we bring. So I just want to encourage you not to get too discouraged about what's happening at the top, because we don't have direct control over that. And instead, focus your attention on what you can do within yourself and locally within your community to spread the type of energy that you do want. Who are these evil people you speak of, Chuck? I think a lot of people are thinking the government, honestly, Chuck. I think a lot of people are, their faith in their governments is waning right now. And I don't want to get into a political conversation. I have zero interest in feeding into that energy. However, all I know is we have control over ourselves, and what we do matters. What we do individually affects the world at large. And so I just want to encourage you, if you have a feeling of fear regarding the government or the people that are in charge of everything, or just a lot of skepticism and panic about all of that stuff, allow yourself to feel those feelings, of course, but also then ask, okay, what do I want to be the reality instead of that? And move into that place, because it does matter. You do matter. You do have an effect. And by spreading a lot of fear, you're only putting fuel in the fire. So let's put fuel in the right fire, which would be the fire of hope and positivity and love. And okay, another thing for your immune system would be, what did I say? Sorry, I just got to pull up my notes. I sent out an email. If you're not on my email list, go to MadelineLemon.com. I'm going to be sending out a few emails regarding all of this stuff as I get more information, just to keep you guys encouraged and hopeful. You can find that right on the homepage of my website. Oh, the other thing that I was going to mention is make sure that you are getting outside, even if it's cold where you are, even if it's raining, if you have to sit on a screen-in porch or underneath what is the word I'm looking for? Totally lost it. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. A covering. Get outside, because sunshine and fresh air are fabulous for your immune system. So even if you're just sitting out there, that's great. If you go for a walk, if you're allowed to, please do that as well. Work out outside, continue to work out. That's also amazing for your immune system. So drink the bone broth, get outside, work out. And then this goes without saying, but absolutely 100% be feeding your body with nourishing foods, a rainbow of vegetables, whole food-based starches like winter squashes and sweet potatoes and all those things that have so much color and nutrition in them, as well as healthy fats. And that will keep your body strong. So just as much color as you can get in your diet. What I said earlier is true. The produce sections of the grocery store are honestly, at least where I'm at, still pretty full. The things that are picked over the most are dry goods. And if we end up actually going on like a national lockdown or state lockdowns, if Italy is any example to us, they're still keeping grocery stores open. And so you'll be able to actually get food. So I would encourage you to get that fresh produce and not be afraid that you won't be able to get stuff later on. For sure, get the dry goods if you want those as well. But right now you can get fresh produce. So take advantage of that while we have it. And I think that'll make a huge difference. And yeah, just in general, those are my tips. I think the number one thing is managing anxiety, managing stress. I also want to just put a little PSA out there. You might actually not think that you're experiencing anxiety. You might actually think that you are feeling really in control of everything. However, pay attention to how many times you're checking your computer or your phone for more information. If you're checking it more than a couple times a day, I can guarantee you that you're in a state of anxiety. Because if you're constantly feeling like, oh, I got to know the next update. Anxiety isn't always this crippling, shortness of breath and tightness in the chest feeling. Sometimes it's as simple as like a need for information, a fear of missing out on what's going on, a need for control. If you feel like you've got to go to the grocery store and stock up on these huge things, that's also a sign of anxiety. Again, I want to say like it's very normal and it's totally okay to experience those things. We're in a really unfamiliar situation that nobody here has been through before. And so it's totally fine to experience anxiety. I just want to encourage you to take the action that you can to mitigate that and not let it get, totally out of control. Nadia, thank you for asking. I don't want to derail from her stream, so I'll just refer you to a documentary called The Greatest Story Never Told. Yeah. There's lots of documentaries out there. I think there's a lot of opinions on what's happening. And Nadia, for you as well, I just want to encourage you to, hold on to your beliefs. You have every right to believe what you want. I just want to ask that you think about also how you can spread hope and light in this climate, especially if that type of stuff is true. That means we even need to go overboard in the type of energy that we're bringing to the world and the hope and the type of conversations that we're having, because we don't want to like feed into that whole thing, Okay, if you guys don't have any other questions, I am going to let you guys go. I just wanted to hop on here and give you some encouragement. Oh, and one more thing really quick before I go. Like I said before, you can find that the guided hypnosis on my channel. I'll link it below, but I think it was the last video I did before this one. Also, please reach out, Madeline@MadelineLemon.com if you want to set up an individual session to work through this anxiety. And if you guys want me to do a live hypnosis session specifically for this situation, let me know. Just comment below and let me know, because I'd be happy to do that. I may end up doing it anyway, just to have it out there as a resource for people. But maybe I'll do that tomorrow, depending on what's going on. So yeah, I'm stuck here for the next 14 days and I'm going to make the most of it. I've got a ton of clay. I'm going to do some sculpture here in my off time. I have some instruments I'm going to play. I'm going to work out. I've got my gardening. So I've got a lot of stuff to keep me occupied that I'm excited about. Rainey, I'll post everything below this in the description box when I'm finished. And I'm glad you're going to do the guided meditation. I think it'll be really helpful. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. I will see you guys soon. Please feel free to reach out if you need anything at all. Bye.